Tattoos and body modifications are without a doubt the most extreme way that someone could change their appearance. But what happens if you go and get all of this permanent work done just to find out in the long run you regret it all? Well, this is what happened to Ethan Bramble, and this is the story of the boy who tattooed his entire face and regretted it. A few years ago, Ethan Bramble went viral due to his extreme look and having over 85% of his body tattooed. And if that wasn't enough, he also has 40 of the most insane body modifications someone could get. Fast forwarding to present day, Ethan states that he regrets majority of the permanent decisions that he made to his body. But why? His goal from the very beginning was to be the world's most modified youth, and he accomplished that. What made him change his mind and regret his decisions? Well, before we get into that, let's talk about some of the most insane procedures that he did to get the title World's Most Modified Youth. Ethan's story starts when he was only 11 years old. He always had a passion for body art and modifications. At 11 years old, he began his first body modification, which was the stretching of his ears. It first started as a slight gauge, but over time they got bigger and bigger. This was around 2010, where stretching of the ears was kind of like the trendy thing to do, so everyone really didn't think much of it. But a year later, Ethan and his friends decided to get a tattoo machine. And like most teenagers do when they get a tattoo machine, they started tattooing each other with permanent ink. Now, this wasn't the smartest thing to do, but a few years later, Ethan got a little bit smarter. He decided to start going to actual professional tattoo artists to get his tattoos. This was when he started getting blasted and his tattoo collection began spreading all over his body. He started with the normal places like the arms, legs, chest, and back, but then his tattoos started inching up to his hands, neck, and face. You know, the more striking areas that you really can't hide. Ethan's face alone has over 30 tattoos, and if that wasn't enough, one day he decided to just black out one side of his face completely in black ink. Which is kind of a shame in my opinion, because before the dude went and got all these face tattoos, he was a pretty good looking guy. But anyway, blacking out certain parts of your body is becoming a real trend in 2022. But back when Ethan did it, very few even considered doing something this extreme. You're probably wondering to yourself, well, what is this guy thinking? Why did he do all this? But it gets even more intense. If he didn't do enough to his face already, at the age of 17, Ethan started branding his face and other parts of his body. Branding is an irreversible procedure, meaning once you get it done, there's no going back. And speaking of irreversible procedures, after branding himself, he then tattooed his eyes. And once you get your eyes tattooed, you're stuck with the way they look for life. These next body modifications I talked about in another video, but the most extreme one that I think he got done was the removal of his belly button, which I didn't even know you could really even do. I didn't know you could get your belly button removed. And aside from that, he got pieces of his ear removed to make himself resemble an elf. His next body modification that he got done is like his popular one that everybody loves, and that is the silicone implant that he has under his skin. And oh yeah, the implant, it resembles a spider. This one personally freaks me out. Now, if that wasn't enough, according to Ethan, his most painful procedure was the splitting of his tongue. He stated that after 7 days of the procedure, he couldn't eat, drink, or talk, and this was tormenting him. And also when sleeping, he had to be mindful of choking on his saliva. So for about 3 to 4 days, he had to sleep upwards. Based off of these things alone, I don't think the splitting of the tongue procedure was worth it. From going over all of these procedures, I'm sure the question has passed your mind of how much did this actually cost him overall? And I will say the amount will shock you. With all of the work that he got done, it only rang him a bill of $20,000, which is actually pretty cheap. The most expensive procedure was the inking of his eyeballs. The reason why all of these procedures were so cheap was because he got that good old friends discount. All of his friends were able to do these procedures that he got done. If he were to go and pay normal price for all of these procedures, it would have racked him up a bill of around $60,000. In an interview, Ethan was asked why he decided to want to look this way, and he stated that he felt a sense of empowerment and that he could walk down the street and have all eyes on him, and he would hear people saying, "Whoa, who is that dude?" which he thought was pretty damn neat. He even said before that he will never stop getting modified, so What changed his mind to make him regret everything? Well, it's simple. One word: responsibilities. Ethan stated that it was time for him to grow up, and he came to this realization after having his first kid. As he got older, he wishes that he didn't go as extreme as he did with getting his face covered in tattoos and his eyeballs blacked out. In an interview with Brockhoff TV, he said that he wishes he can pick up his daughter from school without the parents and other kids making a scene and freaking out. Which is pretty interesting to me, because before he wanted all the attention on him, but now his whole mindset changed. Which I guess it makes sense, because he is living for more than just himself. But the truth is, anyone should be able to do as they please with their own body. But when you go and get these type of body modifications to this extreme level, it is going to affect you and everyone around you. He also said that over time he realized that a lot of his anxiety stems from having his face covered in tattoos. So with that said, what do you think his next move was to fix all of his troubles? You guessed it, he started getting those tattoos laser removed. In the past 12 months, Ethan has been getting laser removal to his face 6 to 7 times, completing it in sections. And the procedures, by looking at them, it looks like they've been pretty successful for him so far. He said that he is excited to move forward and have a face clear of ink within the next few years. His eyes are still going to be blacked out, and he's still gonna have brand marks over his face, but hey, if removing the tattoos off his face is making him happier, then that is all that matters. If you thought this story was insane, be sure to check out this video right here on the man that transformed himself into an alien. And if you haven't yet, be sure to subscribe. See you in the next video.